oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? People. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
What our brother says to our money will put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
It's at 10 a.m. and it's time for ATN's Open Conversation, which is a network flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Now, we use this conversation political talks about specific issues, party system and actors to explore hope and engender positive impact to our society. Today on Open Conversation, our first point of call is in Edo State. PDP chairman says Shaibu's withdrawal of lawsuit right step. And in Ogun State, LGA chairman accused of embezzling federal allocation. And on presidential petition court, ex-Senator Bruce implores petitioners to accept Tinubu's verdict. Still on presidential petition court, Governor Bello advises PDP Labour Party not to appeal verdict. Still on presidential petition court, PDP OB, Labour Party OB, Mr. Peter Obi to appeal tribunal's verdict. And also, Atiku denies congratulating President Tinubu on tribunal victory. He says PDP is the mother of all Nigerian political parties. Today on the show, we have Comrade Oscar Imabe. He's here this morning. He's an activist, a youth leader, but he's here this morning as a political analyst. We'll come back to you right after the break.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
What our brother says to our money will put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
All right, good to have you back on Open Conversation today. Before we get on into Edo State, an issue around the Shaibu's withdrawal of lawsuit and the chairman's position, PDP chairman's position, I'd like to welcome Comrade Savior Imabe. Good to have you on ATN Open Conversation.
Good morning, and good morning to Rivers people. It's a pleasure to be with you.
All right, let's get on with the conversation, if you may. The Edo State chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Tony Aziebemi, has said the withdrawal of the lawsuit filed by the Deputy Governor, Comrade Philip Shaibu, stopping his principal, Godwin Obaseki, and the House of Assembly from impeaching him was the first step towards resolving the rift between the duo. He said that there was no need for the lawsuit in the first place, as other conflict resolution techniques would have been used to resolve the problem between the two prominent citizens of the state. He said it is commendable that the deputy governor has withdrawn the case from court. There was no need for the case in the first place, as the issue could have been resolved using other methods. Over a week ago, I said that our desire as a party is to ensure peaceful resolution of the rifts, and the withdrawal of these suits is the first step toward finding a lasting solution to the rift. We need unity to excel as a party. He said, as Aziebemi said, our correspondent had reported that Philip Shaibu withdrew the lawsuit he filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja, aiming at thwarting the alleged efforts by Obaseki to unseat him from office. Well, the statement said, Shaibu's decision was based on the need to respect the intervention of several individuals, including prominent Edo people and the traditional institution, while also appreciating the governor for agreeing to the peace initiatives. Okay, now there seems to be a headway being made between Governor Obaseki and his deputy Philip Shaibu. However, this headway being made right now, it says he should withdraw the lawsuit, which he has done. And the reason for the lawsuit was that he had a feeling he may be impeached by the governor using the House of Assembly. Now, you've asked him to withdraw that. Now, it seems to be Philip who is pushing for the peace, and taking necessary action. They didn't also tell us that, that really he's not going to be impeached, even though he withdraws that. What are the chances that the governor is not going to insist on what he wants, even though, we have seen them Lord of our party chairman at the end of the day and National State Assembly people. So what are the guarantees that Governor Obaseki is not going to insist on what he wants? He already moved him out of the government house anyway.
Well, I think Edo State is one among those states in Nigeria that is playing the kind of politics that I think can also attract a democratic process. Democratic process in the sense that at this point in time, we believe that we don't have a state. Edo State is not a state where the governor is trying to take charge of everything, rather give room for people to express their opinion. Because I'm quite sure that there are some states that the deputy governor does not ever have a say. Talk of even going to court. We have states like that. The deputy governor does not even exist. It only exists when you ask who is the deputy governor. That's when you know there is a deputy governor. If you don't ask, you will not know there is a deputy governor. We have such states in Nigeria. And Rivers is also one of those states. So where a deputy governor exists, just on the mouth of those are asked. But there is no official duty, there is no representation, there is nothing that can make you remember there is an office of a deputy governor. So I want to also give kudos to the people of Edo State for having the likes of Governor Obaseki, His Excellency Obaseki, who has given room for others to express themselves. Because there are still some states, like I said before, that you have the deputy governor expressing himself in a legal manner like this, that the governor will use all manner of right or all manners of power against him, and he will still be impeached and he will still go. Because we know the kind of politics we practice in Nigeria. The politics we practice in Nigeria depend on who is representing in your own affairs or in your state. So if Edo State have decided to play an open politics where, just like Lagos State politics, where the House of Assembly member will also have the opportunity of rejecting the nomination of a sitting governor. I think these are states that we can use as an exemplary state when other states are actually misbehaving. Because if the House of Assembly member can have the power to reject a nomination, that means they have power to decide what happens in their state. That means the governor as well will be careful of what happens in his own state and how he governs the people of that state. The same thing goes to Edo State. If the deputy governor can have the power of going to court to stop an impeachment notice by the expected or thought of impeachment by the governor or by the state assembly, then I think that is also another way of giving kudos to the Edo people. Going forward, the politics that is practiced in Nigeria is so disheartening and disappointing, because whenever somebody's out, a junior wants to express his own right, the principal officer there will always make you understand that, no, you're not supposed to do it that way. It is everything in Nigeria is all about politics. But I think we have a big level of difference right now. Because the last time I visited Edo State Government House, when was that? The last time I paid a visit there, it was actually so disappointing of what a government house should look like. It was the Edo State Government House that I saw was very close to the governor's office. It was in Edo State Government House that I saw a restaurant that was so unkept, and so unkept that I was asking, is this not close to government house? It was in the Edo State Government House that I saw some structures, and I saw people hawking inside the government house.
Are you being serious right now? How many decades ago was this?
This should be 2019 now. 2019, just 2019, that I went to it. We actually have a visit, paid a visit to the governor, wow. And then I saw people hawking inside the government house.
That's weird.
I have to buy banana.
And you're sure that's the government house?
I said, I'm not saying what I heard. I'm saying what happened to me, what I experienced. So, I actually have to buy the banana that was being hawked in the government house. Though it's also going the same way now in Rivers State, because Rivers State is so exposed and so open that you can just drive through the back gate of Rivers State Government House and you will not see any police stopping you.
That can't be possible, Oscar.
I'm saying what happens to me 2 weeks ago, or the last
You drove into
Rivers State Government House through the back gate, to the SOS gate. To the deputy governor's gate.
Okay.
It was open as wide as you can, and the security men were just seated and only asked one question that was not even serious. And I drove in and I drove out, and that's what I noticed. I'm saying about Rivers State Government House.
Maybe if you think probably because the deputy governor was not on seat, maybe that could be the reason.
Well, I wouldn't know if because the deputy governor was on seat, because even though the deputy governor was on seat, there will still be something like that, because the deputy governor is not actually being seen like somebody that can also express her own right like that. Though according to what I heard, that the current deputy governor is better than the previous person, who is also serving as a senator right now. That the previous deputy governor of Rivers State was something else, and this current one is also a bit better than the former one. So I think this issue is peculiar to most of the government houses that we have today. So, but one of those things that I think is peculiar about the Edo State government is because, one, even when the governor was on seat and tried to say I can embark on infrastructural development, people were having the say to say this is not a quality job. And you see the governor come out to say yes, and he will do something about it. Unlike Rivers State, that people will have a substandard job, and then nothing will be said. Anything you say about it does not hold water. I think that's a very serious problem we have in Rivers State. So looking at what played out in Edo State, for Shaibu to withdraw the lawsuit, I think there must be an understanding, and that understanding should also be as regards to governance of the state, because Shaibu is also interested in positive governance of the state as much as Obaseki. There's one thing I actually took very serious about Obaseki. One of those things that make me appreciate Obaseki was when he has this face-off with the former governor of Rivers State, Chief Vice Yesom Wike, and he made a statement. And he said he's having this problem with Governor Yesom Wike because he refused to be part of the Delegate Confraternity that Gonowike belonged to. I think that was a statement he made and was actually saying that he is a Christian and a born-again Christian. So he made such a statement, and I was very happy, like, well, we see how people that are godly in this process that still want something to go on and then go on well. So those statements and that level of character was also one of those things that attract my attention to the governor of the state.
Okay, now let's talk about, let's draw a comparison. You just said that when he made a statement how Governor Wike wanted him to belong to, said...
a deadly confraternity.
Okay, now, and then because he's a Christian, he cannot do that. Let's draw a comparison between these two men as governors without meaning to malign anyone. Governor Nyesom Wike was a governor, and for 8 years, his deputy was there. We didn't hear any issue. Governor Obaseki is a governor going into his 8th year, if I'm not mistaken, right now. He's fighting with his deputy just because Philip Shuaibu decided to say that I want to become a governor, which is not in tandem with what Obaseki wants. The man who denies another of his rights, or who is, I agree because another decided to fight for his rights, and the man who actually allowed another to serve out her tenure and even become a senator, as a matter of fact, who should be a Christian now?
I think I'll still give 70% to Obaseki in the sense with the...
Because he said he's a Christian.
No, not just because he said so. Because ever since he became a governor, he has not asked for 100% loyalty. Because if he has actually asked
but 100 loyalty demand is politics.
No, I understand, but that's the kind of politics we play in Nigeria that makes you not to have a say. Okay. And that's what I want to talk about right now, because in Edo State, at least for the governor to have the power of the decision, opinion, to express they want to become a governor is so also a very welcome idea. It's a welcome idea because in Rivers State, the deputy governor was not even heard. Talk of saying you want to contest, that she was not even heard.
Probably because she wasn't interested.
No, it's not because...
Have you considered
No,
that?
It's not because she wasn't interested, and yes, she became a senator. She's a senator, a serving senator right now.
Maybe that's what she wanted.
No, that was what she was nominated for. That was what she was nominated for.
She's not a child.
No, she wasn't a child. She has the opportunity of resigning, but she couldn't resign. There was a time she wanted to resign when it was so bad and so sad.
But this is a rumor. Is this an allegation?
This is not a rumor. I remember when I went to this, when she was the deputy governor, Bamigo. When she was the deputy governor, I remember when I went there to pick up some items that she was able to release. And she couldn't, as a deputy governor of the state, she was unable to even she was giving Christmas palliative to her staffs. And she was even unable to add the little stipends to support the palliative. It was just 25 kg pack of rice. That was what a deputy governor was giving out as palliative.
Hold on, what is she supposed to get?
No, she was giving such...
What is she entitled to? Do you have idea?
I think as a deputy governor, what we know played out from the office of the deputy governor is also, even though it's not the same thing as what comes out from the office of the governor, but it was not expected that the deputy governor would give a 25 kg pack of rice to our direct staffs. Our immediate direct staff. Not like she was giving out as a palliative to the community where she comes from. Not like she was giving out to people. Our palliative was giving out to people.
What you're campaigning for that she didn't get, are these not the things that we are saying no to?
What I'm saying is that she never had the opportunity. She never had the opportunity.
Did she say that?
She did say that, but
so
she expressed that with her attitude. How did she express that?
Okay.
How did she express that with her attitude? At the point, she was so tired of becoming a deputy governor. Because at that point, she was not recognized for anything.
Why did she not resign?
I think just like the same thing Shuaibu has said in Edo State is what played out then that made her not to resign.
No, but
how
come all of this information is not in the news?
It's not in the news because it was not like that of Shuaibu and that of Edo State.
Why?
That's why it was, because it was not a saga. It was not an issue. It was not a face-off between her.
But you just said that she wanted to resign.
She wanted to resign because she was actually addressing or saying like she was oppressed inside, and she actually expressed herself. It was stakeholders in the state.
Okay, now these are all assumptions. Okay?
It's not assumption. Now look at the statement of Shuaibu. What is the statement of Shuaibu? That he decided to withdraw his lawsuit because he was talked to by some critical stakeholders of the state. He said so. And it's also a welcoming development because when you are in the state, there are some persons that can talk to you on the need of withdrawing the action you are taking for the benefit of the state to move forward or positively in terms of governance. That's if they are considering positive governance. Yeah. That's expected. So if he was talked to and he withdrew the lawsuit, it is not out of place as well. Okay. But if for any reason too, he has also seen the need of withdrawing the lawsuit, not just because he was talked to, but also see the need, or saw the need of withdrawing the lawsuit. I think that's also obtainable. So going forward with Obaseki, I think Obaseki on his own too did well by also thinking of how to harmonize the process so that it do not escalate beyond.
Harmonize the process. He just set back to this man out of the government house and dumped him somewhere. How did he harmonize the process?
See, if for any reason, the problem we have in Nigeria politics today, was they have this habit of unpicking. And Shaibu on his own, I think why I say Shaibu on his own knows very well that Obaseki is his principal. Now, let me speak from the moral point of view. From the moral point of view, you are working under somebody. And it was this person that actually nominated you to be his deputy from the onset. This person brought you to come and be my deputy. So when he nominated you to be his deputy, means that you also owe him the expression of your intention, even before saying that to the public. That if you look at moral...
Hold on. So because Obaseki said that Shaibu did not tell him, you believe that it really Shaibu didn't tell him that he wanted to be a governor?
If there was an understanding between them.
Let's even assume that. Let's even assume that Shaibu didn't tell him. The way Shaibu is being treated now, disbanding his media team, moving him out of the office he has occupied for about 8 years as deputy governor, putting him somewhere else altogether that he wasn't even officially informed until it was in the news. The way Obaseki has treated Shaibu now for indicating interest and fearing impeachment and going to court and all, going on other things that may have played out internally, you know, stopping his team from getting access into an event and all of that, is it necessary?
Well, that's really... action taken too far, if you ask me. But I also believe that there are always a background reason, which I think we have to look at for now. And what are the background reasons? Obaseki, as a sitting governor or an incumbent governor, also have the right to have called his own deputy governor to harmonize situation with. But I'm also putting it to the deputy governor, Shaibu, that it is not out of place in a moral sense of view. If it is not out of place for him to have discussed his intention or ambition with his principal. It's just like I'm sitting here now. Let me have an example here. If I want, this is your office, and this is where you control. You brought me in and asked me to use this particular space of the office. There is every tendency that...
Hold on. You see, this is maybe where some leaders make mistake it. Obaseki didn't bring him into office. Shaibu also played his role in the joint tickets they have. Shaibu is an elected deputy governor on the same ticket with Obaseki. It is not Obaseki's office. It is the Edo State People's Office that both of them are occupying. It is not something he did to him out of charity. There are merits to all of this. Why are you saying he brought him into office and gave him where to stay?
Let me now say what I know, little knowledge of what I know about nomination process.
Okay.
Now, when you are contesting for a position and you want to have a deputy, it is your right to choose who becomes your deputy, except in a case where the party want to decide who becomes your deputy. It is also going to be in accordance with your own acceptance. The party has no right to just on its own impose a deputy on you. You are the right person to decide who becomes your deputy. It is then the party can, or stakeholders can now decide. As a, since you are a governor from this senatorial district, let's have a deputy from this other senatorial district, which is now a point of harmonization. So it is actually one of the primary rights of the governor to nominate his deputy. So it is also clear that Shaibu, the deputy governor, played an active role during his nomination process because he actually has to campaign so that both of them win, like a win-win thing. So it's also a good one. So I think that it was also necessary for the Deputy Governor Shaibu to have discussed his intention. I think I want to stand on that position because, one, he actually nominated him as his deputy, or for any reason he was nominated and he accepted him as his deputy, that means automatically becomes his principal. I'm not saying he does not have that right of expression. He has the right of expression, but even as much as he has his right of expression, it also has to be into an understanding with the one, because they are still under the same party platform. They belong to the same party platform. That's his governor. That's his principal as well. So I think that there should be an understanding between them. So if Shaibu actually go out of his way or went wrong by going to campaign or informing others before informing his principal, well, I wouldn't know the politics that led to that. Because definitely there should be either a lack of involvement or inclusiveness by Obaseki that must have led to Shaibu actually taking up his own action. There must be a reason for Shaibu to have taken up his own action without discussing with his principal. If at all it is true that he did not discuss with Obaseki, then there must be a background knowledge or a background reason for that, which is just between both of them. Because the scenario is that most time when they are playing this indoor politics, they don't let us know the indoor politics. It is the outdoor that we got to be aware of. And what is the indoor? The indoor is in terms of contract, it is in terms of money, it is in terms of other benefits that is accrued to the deputy office of the deputy governor that is being deprived of. These are also part of the reason that can warrant these challenges, which is not within the outdoor space for us to get. But the outdoor space we know is that the inclusiveness, if the deputy, because we will not be hearing about the deputy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We wish them the very best on this particular subject. I will bring more on that on this conversation, everyone. But now, if you're just joining, this is Open Conversation. And if you need to run and you need to continue to watch the show, not to what we got you covered, all you need to do is go to App Store, download ATN Live, and you can watch us live wherever you are, or watch us live from the platform of our website, atlanticnetwork.tv, or you can also go on to watch us on Facebook or YouTube or StarTimes. Now, the chairman, Ijebu Ode local government area of Ogun State, that's Mr. Babatunde Emilola Gazal, has been given a 48 hours ultimatum to account for the federal allocations that have accrued to the council area in the last 2 years. Otherwise, there will be a protest against his administration. The notice of the ultimatum was on Thursday, was given on Thursday morning, seen pasted on houses in Ijebode Township. The notice reads, Gazal must go, Gazal must go, Gazal must go. Explain to the Ijebus what you have done with the collected federal allocation according to your claim. You are hereby given 48 hours to furnish the Ijebus how you spend the allocations. Failing to do this will lead to protests within the local government by concerned citizens. It was gathered that the chairman, having seen the notice pasted around, was said to have stayed away from the office to avoid being attacked. While speaking with our correspondent, Emilola Gazal confirmed the incident, but said it was a sponsored move. He also confirmed staying away from office while he's stressing that at the appropriate time, he will render the account of his stewardship as far as the funding of the local government is concerned. Gazal said the move is a sponsored one. Yes, I stayed away from office. We shall come out at appropriate time. Well, a resident of Ijebode who spoke to us on a condition of anonymity, said the situation was a bit tense up in the morning as the residents were not happy with with Governor Abiodun over the allegation of diversion of funds meant to develop the grassroots, as claimed by Adedayo, said that there was nothing like that because Governor Abiodun had always allowed the local governments to utilize the allocation. He had led other local government chairmen in the states last Tuesday to prostrate local governments in the past 2 years. Now, money, allocation, funding, these are not secrets. These are not things you can say, okay, I gave Oscar this money. And then Oscar will start denying. At least in 2023, there are bank details, there are drafts that can be gotten. Why do you think this front and back between the local government chairman and the governor, I gave, you didn't give, and this is what is going to do a whole lot? Why are they speaking English about this money?
I am seriously impressed. It gave me a little joy.
Okay.
That we still South State. In short, all the sits South state do not have this level of governance. In short, in the southeast, and it means you also be waiting all this money. And you, the governor, say you do not receive such amount of money, or you are denying the recipient of such amount of money. Then I am yet to find out who is lying. But the governor should come out open. I think the state governor should come out open and make it open that this is his own, what was released and all of that. And let there be a bank draft to it. Let the bank also come out to say, yes, this is what actually was released. Let us have not a political accusation. I see this as political accusation where the governor is not comfortable with the local government chairman, or the local government chairman and the governor has a hidden interest that they don't want the public to know. Because if there is no hidden interest, then the governor should come out openly to send all the documentations or all how the money was released and the paper attached to the money, how the funding was released to the local government, and then send it out to the state assembly or send to the legislative assembly, the local government legislative assembly, where they will need to decide what happens. Because it is actually the right of the councillors in that LG, the local government chairman, cannot even try this. You cannot try this in some states in the South state. You cannot try that. You cannot even try that in Rivers State. So this also gives us an understanding that some of these local government chairmen in the north or in some of this part of the southwest actually contested based on their own. He has been in the news for so many years to look at a way of addressing issues that concerns him. But there are so many news that is not going down well with some of us that have been coming up ever since he took over as a governor. And that's also no. We want a bank draft, an official bank draft to that effect. Let the bank come out, or let them write to the bank. Let the bank be able to provide the document of how much was released and how much was sent, so that we can be able to know that yes, this is actual cost or this is actual rate. Where the local government chairman is being right, or the governor is being right. So at that point, we can now decide as so the governor was actually wrong, or the local government chairman was also not was right in his case, or was not right in his case. But at this point, it's just a local government letterhead we are saying, not from the government, not from the bank that actually sent this money. Because I'm quite sure this money was not sent in hand or sent by cash. This money was sent through transfer. And so it is also the right of the governor to come out open and display the transfer that was sent and receive the transfer and where the office it was sent to. Because you cannot just come out and accuse the local government chairman because you are the governor and expect everybody to accept. If the local government chairman said that is not true, then you should be able to provide beyond reasonable doubt. Because you send this money to us actually coming from a certain account. So let the account that the money was sent to be provided, and let the amount that was sent be also be provided so that we, the public, and since you are bringing it out to the public for the public to decide, you can now know where the fate or who is wrong and who we have to blame. And that, I think that should be the case. So the local government, the governor should stop being in the news for unnecessary saga. He should try the best he can to compose the state and not make his state look like other states that we are having a challenge or democratic challenge in.
All right, we'll take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we're going to be running down through some issues coming out from the presidential election petition court. We'll be back to you after now.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
I'm called for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will improve in the bank.
As always said, there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
As always said, there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed.
Obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about
Welcome back to ATM Blot, everyone. Now, a former Senator, Ben Murray Bruce, who has advised the petitioners to put the country's interests above any self-interest or the people's verdict, and that elections do not have to end in the court. Bruce said once elections have been held and a winner is announced, we must I'll follow the Jonathan doctrine and accept the people's verdict in the interest of democracy and the nation. Our elections don't have to end in let us put national interest above self-interest, accept the verdict and move on so the nation can advance. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a duly elected and undisputed president of Nigeria, and this judgment should settle all questions and erase all doubts. I commend the judges of the Presidential Election Petition Court for doing a challenging job exceptionally well. It was democracy that won. So I commend both the president and his challengers. Coincidentally, this verdict is coming at the president marks 100 days in office, days that have been eventful, effective, and is decisive. And now, without this unnecessary uncertainty hanging over his head, we can expect even better days. Finally, I call on the supporters of all the parties to this now settled case to be mindful of recent events on our continent and thus tailor their words and actions to promote the peace, progress, and prosperity of Nigeria as one democratic and united nation under God. Is Senator Ben Murray Bruce a Nigerian that lives in Nigeria, that understands what happens in Nigeria? Do you have idea?
I'm beginning to, though it's not a surprise to me, but I think...
I just asked, is he a Nigerian?
He's a Nigerian. Yeah, he is.
Has he been a political office holder before?
He has been a senator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's familiar with what court processes and all of that?
Yes, he is.
So what do you think is behind this idea of shutting people down, people who still have a window to go to the Supreme Court, for instance? If he's been in Nigeria and understand all of this, why talk down on the emotions? To them, to the people who are having these problems, these emotions are valid. But legally, they are entitled to go to the Supreme Court. So why don't you think he's telling them, forget it, he's duly elected, and everything that has happened? Don't these people have a right to, respond or react to issues that affect them as fellow Nigerians?
That is why the other part of the world, or the international community, have seen the failures and the lapses in terms of our governance in Nigeria as a system of leadership failure. Because if you look very well, I keep saying it and I'll continue saying it, that the problem we have in this part of our country is leadership problem. The same problem we have in the South, the same problem we have in the Niger Delta. These are the problems that is bringing us back on daily basis. The problem is bringing us back most times. It is not even the institution, it is not the agency, it is not those those offices that you hold that is the problem. It is the person holding those offices that is the problem. Because when a certain person becomes a public holder or take over a public office, you now decide to use your greed, your self-centered mindset, and your personal opinion as if the country belongs to your personal opinion, like others don't have a say. And then you also become the president and then felt that every other person should be answerable to whatever you say and be saying yes to all that you said. And that becomes a major challenge. And that is why we have got to this far. Because if maybe we have a situation where leaders, we are actually behaving as leaders, they will always see people behaving well. Because Ben Murray Bruce is one person I wasn't expecting to issue out such a statement. Because it's one man that I've always talked about common sense. I don't know if this is part of his common sense that he preached, or this is part of the common sense that people should have. Though at the end of the statement, he did not say he just want to make a common sense as usual. But I think Ben Murray Bruce is not trying at all by issuing out such a statement. Because he's one man that people felt that his opinions and ideas should be an idea and opinion that will make the country to move forward. He's an idea office that also owns a media house. What do you expect people to hear? Is it the kind of statement you want to use to, you want to issue to your media houses to send to Nigerians? This is not what Nigerians want to hear. What Nigeria wants to hear is that let a spade be called a spade. What is bad is bad. What is wrong is wrong. If Ben Bruce is not aware, if Ben Bruce is not aware, I want him to understand that what has just happened today has given room for disrespect to the rule of law. If at all he do not remember or he cannot recall that, I also want him to understand that what has happened today has made the judiciary becomes the deciding factor of who become the president or who become a governor or a local government chairman. Now, removing the power from the INEC. So I don't think we should have INEC again. Because if you are going to do election and come from INEC and go to court, and court will not be the deciding factor of who emerged the winner, then why is INEC conducting an election? That's waste of fun. INEC should be scrapped. At this point, we don't need INEC again. Because INEC as well was for the rich. Then the rich will also suffer when the law is being broken or when there is disrespect to the rule of law. But the judiciary itself are also seen as an umpire responsible for the breakdown or disrespect to the rule of law. If not, why would Mary Bruce come out to make such a statement? If the judiciary has not given opportunity to Senator Ben Mary Bruce to come out and make such a statement, I'm not sure he would have done that irrespective of the political interest he have or party affiliation he belongs to. Because this is purely politics and not for the benefit of all Nigerians. His statement is not for Nigerians. Rather, his statement is just to give kudos to a particular government that he is supporting, irrespective of the millions of Nigerians that is not happy about it.
All right, here is another angle today. Senator Ben Murray Bruce is a member of the PDP. He knows full well that Atiku Abubakar, he has a presidential candidate who is also a major factor in the ongoing presidential election court cases, as the case may be. Now, so when you say the judiciary, he's been a lawmaker, by the way. So when you say the judiciary,
and PDP and Labour Party does not have any judgment in their favor in the entire process.
No, but in this case, they said that the matter brought by APC that Obi wasn't duly registered in the Labour Party, they said that is not for them to hand. They struck that one out. It wasn't. They didn't take it up against Obi. That's one of the cases they brought. At least you can hold on to that one.
See, because they know that particular one will not stop them from
opportunity still within the judiciary. So if we end up condemning the judiciary based on what the 5 appeal court justices came up with, are we not going to the extreme? Because these people still have an opportunity to go to the Supreme Court.
It is not the opportunity of going to the Supreme Court that matters. Election Protection Tribunal is also what is expected to play that in the Supreme Court. So people are now seeing like what different will come up from the Supreme Court. So now what are we saying? So many persons are lack confidence.
You're emotional. Several Nigerians are emotional, and that is understandable if we look at everything that played out and how the cookie came crumbling and all of that. But don't you think we shouldn't take it to the extreme? Because said all of these parties who got the presidential petition court ruling also have it, and because most of the thing they told them was that you don't have evidence to this. It's incomplete. The thing you presented is not suitable enough for us to give verdict that Tinubu didn't win election. That was basically all that was playing. Now, don't you think that the action of the tribunal have now given the Labour Party and the PDP and the APM opportunity to now go back to the drawing board, smoothen their evidence? Don't you think that this is one of the best judgments that could come out of the Supreme Court, the tribunal? Because now they have this opportunity. Okay, Vivian, you didn't watch this cup well, so I'm not going to take it on air. So now you didn't say I won't use it at all. You said go and basically go and clean this up. When you clean it up, we'll bring it back and I will use it. Don't you think that's what has happened? Bring it back and I will use it. Don't you think that's what has happened? Because if we now go on, judiciary is bad, let's condemn it.
For now, to tell us the fate or the outcome of the judiciary. Even before I quote some other lawmakers in the National Assembly who also...
The tribunal with the judges, the justices.
We belongs to Nigeria, that we are carefully saying it failing. We are
failed. And you have opportunity to resit that exam and you will be
involved in that situation. The exams will fail because of your lack of performance. So now, when you're talking about a situation like this, you look at the merits and the demerits. But in this sector, can we actually compare the scenario to this scenario or this situation or question you just asked? If you ask me, I'll tell you, it's not almost the same thing. It's not like a look-alike case. Because I have also seen a case where a student accused a particular lecturer of manipulating his results. And at the end of the day, there was a panel set up. And this panel that was set up, the student was asked to write the exam before all the examiners and will be marked instantly before all the examiners. And a certain student wrote the exam before the examiners and scored actually what she claimed that she actually scored from the beginning. And the score was given to her, and she scored and got away and went away with a good score. And it was now seen that, oh, it was a particular person that was being accused that was actually responsible for the reduction of the score that the young lady had in the first place. So I think at this point I would say, like, in the case of Nigeria judiciary, it is not like this. Because the case of Nigeria judiciary, it's obvious that as we speak, some lecturers, almost all the judges have been accused of collecting bribes. And this bribe is out there on the news. That some collected $5 million US, some collected $7 million US. And it's out there in the news that they collected bribe. How can you have a case where the judiciary is being accused of collecting bribes? So who will not investigate them? Okay, comrade, let's not go to the extreme, like I said. These are investigations or accusations that cannot be substantiated. And our primary job here is to provide the right kind of education for the masses and ensure that we give them the what we know to be authentic truth. Not that because you are perfect. But again, the question I ask, because a lot of us are in our emotions over the tribunal ruling, the presidential tribunal ruling, and while we're in our emotions, I ask again, are you trying to say, the same question, I'm putting it in the other way around right now, are you trying to say that if all these parties, APM, PDP, Labour Party, should go back to the drawing board, take the certified true copy of the judgments when they receive it, and one after the other, because that's what basically needs to go to tribunal, is rewriting the exam. You've been given opportunity to rewrite it this time to present your facts. Are you trying to say when they bring each point as raised by the tribunal, because they did a comprehensive work, they bring one, they trash it with quality evidence by answering, like, you failed here, you answered the question. Because they've given them basically an expo, if you may. They bring another one, they trash it, and they pile all of this up with credible evidence. The places where the Labour Party didn't present clear, what is it called? A clear document. Labour Party ensures they get a clear document, authentic one. In the place where they said that they didn't get enough witnesses from the actual polling unit, Labour Party goes back and brings all of this. Are you not saying, in the case of Atiku and the Chicago State University, which they're already on anyway, which by the time they presented their witness, their cases, Atiku's lawyer already said, Tinubu's lawyer already attested to the fact that there was actually an error in that Chicago State University. Are you not saying that if they're able to answer all the questions that made the justices trash down their petition and go to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court is going to look Nigerians in the face and say, no, these facts are not facts? You see, like I said earlier, these questions you are asking is the questions that even the public don't want to answer. Because
it's not for the public. No. These people have their team.
I got your point. Yes. I'm coming from somewhere.
Okay.
Why I said so is simple. As we speak, a lot of persons are now seeing the entire process as rubbish, have seen the entire process as uncalled for. So it is also a challenge now for people to even believe in the judiciary. Now, going forward to the question.
Sorry, we all don't have to believe. What I'm asking is, you and I don't even need to do anything as a matter of fact, as Nigeria. There are,
I got your question. I'm coming to your question.
These guys have their teams. We don't have to do anything. We are in our emotions. But while we're in it, are you saying that if they're able to answer all the questions that the tribunal presented, that they didn't give answers, that the Supreme Court is going to say they didn't see those?
You see, that's why I'm coming to, because most of the charges that was given out there were based on technical faults and all of that. So if we are looking at it...
if answers are provided for those technicalities...
Now, looking at it, because whether you like it or not, the judiciary has always made God understand that the court is not a Father Christmas where you come and get justice.
True.
So there is always a reason. You know, in the law can be...
what you give is what the judges use to judge your
it's
case.
like a computer, garbage in and garbage out, which is not true in the Nigerian judiciary. Now,
I don't know why you will say that.
No, it's not true. Because computer will give you exactly what the question you ask. Now you go and Google something or put something in the computer. What the computer will give you, exactly what you request for. That's what the computer will give you.
Okay.
So I think the judiciary is not totally in that direction.
Okay.
So now going forward, we are aware that this law are interpreted in different ways. That is the challenge we have. So now you have a situation. This is a cop. Now, before the law or before the court, they can tell you this is actually not a cop with some reasonable fact. Meanwhile, in the moral aspect, you are saying that this is a cop. Morally, you are saying that this is a cop, but the law will tell you that this is not a cop. Based on interpretation.
That is where you're not a lawyer, because you're not a lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer.
Fine.
Let's just allow the court of first instance.
The problem we have in our Nigerian judiciary is the interpretation of the law, because they now interpret it in a way that it favors only the judge, and that's why even the lawyer, when a court has made a certain pronouncement or ruling, it is difficult for the lawyers to even say no to it. Rather, they will accept as court places, meaning that whatever the judge or the court have said is what everybody has said.
You're a youth leader, and your people are watching you. And that is why you also need to be careful how you push these things across to them. I'm just saying that for all of our sake, the court of first instance have already taken a position. It's people, in fact, a lot of political people, they say they have given these parties expo how to win the Supreme Court. Why don't we just allow them to play that?
Now, are you also aware
that the process?
Are you also aware that the Supreme Court is waiting for another loopholes that they will use against the loopholes that have been used?
So why don't we get
now look at it from this perspective. Some cases have been dismissed even from the National Assembly, even from the State Assembly, National Assembly, those petitions in the State Assembly and that of the National Assembly.
All right,
some cases have been dismissed. And what is the reason for the dismissal? The reason for the dismissal is still on technical ground. Even when you are saying that Owe Onyesu was supposed to lose in that tribunal, but the same Owe Onyesu, because the evidence that was brought up against him was so clear before the court, but it was interpreted in a way that it will favor him because of what is assumed to have taken place, which is bribed. So the
we
problem
don't
is
have evidence to that. Let's not sit here and make all of those
but it's on the news. It's in the news now.
That who was bribed?
It's in the news that the 5 judges that decide this election petition tribunal recently was bribed. It's also in the news.
Okay, now if it was in the news, anything can be in the news these days. But who is the news stakeholder that made that statement that these judges were bribed?
It's even as we speak right now.
All right, let's not go into that because that would be a lot of misinformation to the public.
It's not misinformation because it's also clear.
I have not seen anything credible on that.
It's also clear that there was a 34 billion naira that was released to the judiciary. What was the reason for that 34 billion?
That is for the NBA, the NJC to talk about. It's not for this justice.
So why will you wait? Why don't you wait after the election petition tribunal before you release such money?
There is no authentic evidence on that out.
No, the money was released and the sharing formula was also in the public space.
It may be in the social media, but it's not in the mainstream media. And if it's not in the mainstream media, it's not authentic.
Now, you see what happens here is that when a president, you are a president, you release a certain amount of money when there is an election against you ongoing. And then at the same time...
There is no evidence to this, comrade.
What other evidence do you need? That there is election ongoing. So the election petition tribunal ongoing, and the president released 34 billion.
I heard this, and I spoke with some members of the NBA, and they said they are still waiting to see the money that they have also heard. So can we go to Kogi State and look at Governor Bello's position on this?
But before we go to that, there's no way you will kill a person, and you were not seen, and you admit that you killed that person. It is not possible. So there's no way. No,
it is possible.
It is only possible when God, divine spirit, take intervention.
But God has given scientists the method through which, through proper forensic investigation and what have you, there are traces that can show today that...
Not in Nigeria case. It is not in Nigeria. It can happen in the international community, but not in Nigeria.
Let's go to Kogi State. So the Kogi State governor, Yahaya Bello, on Thursday told the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar and his counterpart from the Labour Party, that's Mr. Peter Obi, to perish the idea of appealing the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in the Supreme Court. Now, let me ask you a direct question. Why do you think, we've talked about Ben Bruce, member of the PDP, Yahaya Bello, a sitting governor in Kogi State, who has a candidate, Ododo, who doesn't even know if his own will end up in the courts, by the way. But let's leave that by his side. Why do you think that he's asking them to perish the thought of going to the Supreme Court? If indeed he is sure that, I mean, they're not asking Yahaya Bello to give them money, right? No. They're not even asking the APC to give them money. Why do you think Yahaya Bello is so worried that these men will go to the Supreme, that they should praise the idea of going to the Supreme Court? If they are confident that they will win at the Supreme Court, why don't you allow them? Is it not their time and their money that they're going to waste?
I think the reason why some of these persons or selfish politicians are interested in the case not going on any longer is because to them it's a distraction. They see it as...
How? How is it distracting?
No. They see it as a distraction in the sense that some of them feel that they are entitled to a certain position. And the tribunal or this election issue is actually affecting their position they are supposed to have occupied by now. So a lot of them feel...
But how is it affecting you?
No, you see, a lot of them, they are not just... They know very well that the judiciary is in their favor. I think these governors and these politicians knows very well that the judiciary is in their favor. And that is why we are...
Okay, sorry. If that is the case, why don't they allow the people who have chosen to go to the Supreme Court to go to the Supreme Court? Why are you worried about the is it his money? Is it his judge?
The only reason why they are interested in adding their voice is because, one, they also want to see that they are in support of this whole process to end because they want to be in the good book of Mr. President. A lot of person make this statement just to be in the good book of Mr. President, even when they knows very well that a lot of things is supposed to happen or will not happen. And just like we said today, now look at the election, look at the judiciary, like I keep saying. The judiciary has given itself to the street for people to discuss. This is actually not supposed to be the case. We are supposed to be clapping for the Nigerian judiciary. We are supposed to say that this is Bishop Hansen Kuka. Bishop Hansen Kuka made it clear in one of his statements that the fate of Nigerians lies in the hands of the judiciary at this point. Now, see what the judiciary is doing. Is that actually telling us that, or do we have a faith in the judiciary? The answer is no. If a bishop will come out and say the fate of Nigerians lies in the hands of the judiciary, that's to tell you that as we speak now, so many persons are putting their eyes on the judiciary. Now, believing that the judiciary will help us to clear the mess that INEC has put in us. Now, INEC failed, and that's why we are giving a call that INEC should be scrapped. These are offices that should be scrapped. INEC do not have any role again to play because it is not INEC that declare who emerged as the winner any longer. Because even INEC is telling you to go to court because they now see that it is the court that have the power to declare a winner. That's why INEC is saying go to court. So at this point, I think that INEC should be scrapped. We should not have anything like INEC again because INEC has failed his mandate. The mandate was given to INEC. INEC has failed woefully and has failed entire Nigerians. So why allowing INEC to stand? Why allowing that organization to stand? So I think at this point, what we should look at for is Yahaya Bello is trying to make himself also relevant. You know, he contested for president under the APC government. And at this point, he is going, I'm quite sure this should be his last tenure. So he's looking forward, getting something after his tenure expires or elapsed. So he's thinking of being in the good book of the president. Maybe because he has not been heard for a while, or maybe because he has not added his voice the way it is. But I think Yahaya Bello on his own was the same person that went to court against a sitting position in his own state. So if Yahaya Bello on his own, you are saying people should not go to court. Meanwhile, you want to go to court if the thing is not in your favor. Then what are you telling Nigerians? We are disappointed in the leadership of Nigeria currently. We are disappointed in the current leadership. Because the position we have today, many Nigerians are disappointed.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade. Now, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has vowed not to back down in seeking justice, as he said he will appeal the verdict of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal delivered on Wednesday. Obi said this on Thursday at a press conference in Onitsha, Anambra State, while reacting to the 5-man panel judgment led by Justice Haruna Samani, which upheld the victory of President Bola Tinubu. According to Obi said, the 6th of September 2023, the Presidential Election Petition Court finally delivered its long-awaited judgments on the petitions challenging the outcome of the presidential election held on 25th February 2023. Obi said this judgment was delivered within the statutory time frame under the extant statutes. We acknowledge the court's contribution to due process and the seeming attempt to strengthen our democracy. As petitioners in this case, we said we respect the views and rulings of the court, but we disagree with the court's reasoning and conclusions in the judgment it delivered. Obi said, it is my intention as a presidential candidate and the intention of the Labour Party to challenge this judgment by way of appeal immediately as allowed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Obi said the Presidential Petition Court has rendered its judgment, but that esteemed body is not the final arbiter. The responsibility now falls on the Supreme Court. He said, I do know that judgment is not conterminous with justice. I implore Nigerians to remain focused, steadfast, and peaceful, abide by the rule of law, and understand that this matter has not reached its logical conclusion. According to him, his legal team has already received a firm instruction to file an appeal against the decision. He said, I shall not relent in the quest for justice, not necessarily for myself, but indeed for our team and supporters all over the country whose mandate to us at the polls were regrettably truncated by INEC. The strength and value of our democracy reside in solid national institutions, and our confidence in them. Electoral litigations will be almost unnecessary and non-existent if the Independent National Electoral Commission discharges its statutory functions credibly, transparently, and with the discernible fairness. When that body fails, as it did recently, thus subverting the will of Nigerian voters, the recourse to the judiciary becomes imperative, as is now the case. He said, I thank every Nigerian who supported our cause and campaign for new Nigeria, characterized by fairness, equity, justice, the rule of law, peace, prosperity, inclusiveness, and many more. Now, that's a leader who is talking to the leader of the Labour Party and the Obedience, and, of course, several other Nigerians who is talking to his team saying, it's okay, they are not the final arbiter. If you are to advise Obi based on the issues raised before them, they talked about the 25%, they talked about the use of one of the critical things that came out of this, that a lot of people are asking, someone help us understand why you're saying that FCT and other states are the same when they don't have a national, the state assembly like other states have, when they don't have, you know, a governor and all of those other details. They don't have local government area, they don't have a assist council and all of that. So many questions that Nigerians have that the tribunal couldn't answer. And of course, why would INEC take 305 billion and now tell us that they have a digital device and we're going to vote? And you know, there are so many questions. But if you were to advise the Labour Party who said they are going back to court, what would be your advice to them in terms of ensuring that they have their house properly cleaned and ready to dismantle all of the issues raised by the tribunal?
There are two candidates in the Labour Party right now that is making me proud.
Two candidates?
Yes, two candidates in the Labour Party that is making me very, very much happy. The first person is Peter Obi, for the Labour Party presidential candidate.
Okay.
Is actually making me feel very, very happy with his steps. I think he's not really distracted with the outcome of what he's saying. Rather, he's being focused based on the fact that he really wants to achieve or make something different in Nigeria. Then, at the same time, in Rivers State, we have Beatrice Itubo that is also in the tribunal. As we speak today, she did a final presentation, final address yesterday on the 6th. I think on the 6th, or the day before yesterday. No, yesterday she did a final address yesterday to the Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja. And she's actually trying her best too in the Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja. Going forward, Peter Obi, if I'm to advise him like you asked, I think he has taken the right step so far. So the only thing I need to do is to encourage him to keep his faith and then continue believing that there are a lot of Nigerians that still believe that there will be a good outcome at the end of the day. Even though some persons have lost hope, because if you go to the community, what we hear is that don't forget it, election is over, tribunal is over, everything is over. Now, these are the kind of things you hear even from the market women. These are even what you hear from the traders. These are what you hear from the farmer. These are what you hear from every sector.
So, but you will encourage him to go ahead?
I will encourage him to go ahead. The same way I think the step he has taken, he shouldn't be deterred with what is going on, because I am very much optimistic that at the end of the day, when hunger will hit people, even the judiciary alone will not be able to stand the pressure. When the pressure will start, the judiciary, all the bad acts in the judiciary will be identified, because hunger will push them come off for there. What the hunger will do? when the people slumber. Because at this point, I think that we are in a very, very big cage, that we are waiting for action, the right action to bring us out from that cage. And I'm happy the way judiciary is doing it. The Nigerian judiciary is doing it well by making Nigeria feel more aggrieved, making the pains to come up more, making people to feel so angry that in the next or in the future, so many things will be used as a yardstick for action that will take place. And I'm quite sure this action is not going to take too long, because when this whole thing has cooked to its bare minimum, to the maximum, I'm quite sure that when Nigerians will come out, we are still sustaining all this whole thing. But there will be a time when everybody will say enough is enough.
All right.
Where all hands will come together and say enough is enough, because the Nigerian judiciary is adding. So when the time will come, the judiciary should not be seen or should not start blaming people why people are.
No,
let them be aware.
Sorry. We can't say that. We can't. That's you threatening the judiciary.
No, we are not threatening. They're also threatening us now. They're not threatening us.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that.
No, okay, but that means Latin level. The country will feel the impact of hunger.
All right, let's hope we don't get there. But let's wrap up with this conversation. The former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, has bragged that the People's Democratic Party is the mother of all political parties in Nigeria, including the ruling All Progressive Congress. Atiku made the boastful statement during the press briefing in Abuja on Thursday while reacting to the verdict of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that upheld the victory of President Bola Tinubu. He asked the PDP members to remain resilient, loyal and unwavering in their support of the party, and quickly reminded the unpatriotic members and other parties that PDP gave birth to them. He said, "Let me finally give hope to some of the delusional or disappointed members of our party. I am one of the foundational members of this party, and I'm still strong." Atiku said this party gave birth to any other party you can think of in this country today. Whether you are APC or APM, whatever you call yourself, your mother is a PDP. What is most important for us is to make sure we remain loyal and faithful members of this historic party. Atiku said this is the only party since the creation of Nigeria that is as old as it is today. We have a record to protect, promote, and foster. You may be fathers today, but you will always be proud of your grandfather, not to mention your great-grandfather. Why will you want to be proud to be a member of, why would you not want to be proud to be a member of the PDP, he said. There's absolutely no reasons. I therefore want to urge our members to remain loyal and dedicated and foster national unity and cohesion. All right, I don't know where this conversation was leading to, where it was coming from, but for the first time we see Atiku actually throw banter, like go directly to throw banter. But again, let's think about it critically right now. Amongst all the democratic parties that we have today in terms of politics, PDP happens to stand as the oldest so far. And against all the odds that may have come against them, they are still standing. So could one say that Atiku is wrong by saying that PDP is the mother of all the party, and against all odds, they are still going to keep standing?
Well,
you think so?
PDP is still standing because we still have some elected governors under the platform of PDP.
Okay.
That's why PDP is still standing. Maybe in the future, when we are not going to have any elected governors again in the PDP, then PDP will be over.
Why would you think there will be no local government?
No, because Atiku make the right statement. PDP is the mother of all corruption in Nigeria.
No, he didn't say that.
But it's not far from what he was saying.
No. That's not wrongly insinuating it.
I am not. That is not what he said. But I'm also trying to speak the meaning of what he said. I'm trying to interpret.
No, that's your own meaning.
I am interpreting what he said in my own understanding. That's what he did not say what I just said. But I am interpreting what Atiku said to my own understanding. That's what I have just done. If I should interpret it again in my own way, I think I am also not very much happy that Atiku on his own could allow himself to be messed up by the judiciary like this. How? As a former vice president of this country, as a former vice president, I'm quite sure that there is no member of the judiciary or no of the judges in the judiciary today that Atiku do not know. And we are also aware that what is playing out in this country right now is either you are lobbying or you are bribing. It's either you are lobbying or you are bribing, just like the president has started it already. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, make it clear that if you want something for him, you come and lobby him.
But you can't be saying that somebody should go and lobby the judiciary.
That is what the president said. Now that's the stage we are now.
But he didn't refer. He was talking to.
He was talking to Wike now.
He was talking to fellow politicians. He wasn't talking to lawyers.
No, wait
judges.
now. See what's happening here now. The man come Port Harcourt, and president come Port Harcourt. I think by break for you. Waiting me the two way talk. He said, see, if you want something, governor, if you
no, you're quoting out of context.
No, which one the context now?
Referring to the governor of Rivers State. We didn't say anybody that
we can wait now. We can want something from Tinubu. So we can come talk the thing where you want from Tinubu. Now Tinubu can reply Wike. What did Tinubu reply Wike? He said you cannot invite me to Port Harcourt and then be giving me all kind of requests. So if you want something, make it call lobbyer. Now what me a year where you talk. Yeah. So now we are now in the country of lobbying. That's what I'm saying. Okay. We are now in the country of lobbying and you know the system. He has been into the system. He is in the system. Even though he started in Dubai. But he has been he's a system person.
If he should go, if Atiku based on he's been a former vice president and having access to some of these justices, if he should go lobbying them, that's what we have all been fighting for, that has messed up the nation, that we are fighting against.
Now, we are talking about what is going to affect us in 2027. As we speak today, 2027 will be the highest level of corruption because every politician wants to be declared the winner first. According to Wike, in one of his statements at my 3, when he was making a statement, that was during his first term, he said, I will be declared the winner first. Don't worry, we will meet in court. Let me be declared the winner first. Senator Manusunge Abe made the same statement when he was contesting, returning for Senate. He said, I will not be the one to take them to court again. Let them declare me the winner and let them take me to court. Because what happened in Nigeria, whoever has been declared the winner becomes the winner. That is the system we have in this country. And that is why we are going backward. Once you are declared the winner, you become automatically the winner. You end your tenure.
Right,
that is the scenario we have in Nigeria. So that is why Atiku on his own.
Open conversation.
That's why Atiku on his own should be able to understand that he cannot be a former vice president and be messed up by the Nigerian judiciary.
You just sat on national television and act and encourage lobbying as a means of getting what you want.
I'm encouraging it. I'm not encouraging it. I am saying what the president said. That's what the president
said. You're asking Atiku should have known how to do that because he's got these people network and all of that.
Atiku on his own should also think of what to do because he's becoming a vice president. How did he become a vice president?
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Oscar Xavier Imabe, for being part of Open Conversation today.
Thank you very much.
It's going to look like Open Conversation is blowout, but thank you for being here.
Thank you very much
and
for having me.
that's been Open Conversation today, everyone, coming to you from Atlantic Television Network. But now, if you missed any part of the conversation, sounded like the Open Conversation that sounded like blowouts, all you need to do is get on to watch the full show on our Facebook and YouTube page, and you can also continue to watch us live. If you need to watch us on mobile, atlanticnetwork.tv, that's our website, or you can also watch us live on our app, ATN Live. But when you cannot do that, you can always catch up the shows on our Facebook pages, on the Facebook and YouTube